to your own understanding, but in all your ways acknowledge him, and he will direct your path. That's not the easy thing to do. Trust in the Lord. That's the first hard thing, because I think I know the better way. With all your heart. That's another hard part, because my heart is kind of partial to the things that I want and the things that I think are right. Lean not to your own understanding. Well, I can see what I get to do, but you want me to have this faith to walk on water and focus on you, when that's just not a normal thing to do. Lean not to your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him. You mean that when I talk to my husband, and when I interact with people, and when nobody is looking, and in every area of my life, in all my ways acknowledge him, and he will direct my path? But the question is, do I want him to direct my path? That's the question. And so we sing these songs like, I surrender all. No, you don't. Lord, I love you more than anything. No, you don't. So we just need to be sincere about our worship, be sincere about our lives, be sincere about our reality, be open to the will of God, even when it hurts. And so I'm going to talk to you a little bit about just my personal story. I want to do the I will wait piece, and we'll get to that. But there's a lot of brokenness that happened before that, which made the process difficult for my husband. And, you know, a lot of people have this desire that they want to get married, but a lot of times they're trying to fill a void and give a human a responsibility that only God can carry. So you can't get mad at him because he don't have the strength to do it, no matter how strong he is. Only God. And so I went through a lot of things very early. I'm going to share that with you. This piece is entitled The Truth Without Photoshop. Because, as y'all know, everybody look good on Instagram. Don't nobody put a bad picture of themselves up on Instagram. You blemishing stuff out and taking stuff and fixing it and taking. I used to work for Shaka Khan, and I remember we were getting ready to put her on the cover of this magazine. I apologize, Shaka, for telling your business, but and they were like, "Oh, she just looks a little thick." They said, "Whoop!" They just cut 20 pounds off the side. I was like, "Wow!" Pastor said, "I need that. I need that anointing in my life. I need that." But that's not the reality. And we can display to people what we want them to see, but the Lord knows our heart, right? Isn't that what happened with David? Because the man was looking at the outer appearance, but God looks at the heart. And people like to use that verse to their advantage, like, you know, people look at the outer appearance, but God knows my heart. Yes, but the Bible also says that the heart is wicked. So he knows you. All right, dang, I'm supposed to do poetry. Okay, poetry. Do what I came to do. Don't encourage me to preach. Stop it. Stop. That's why the rain is going to be up. Some of us have gone through things that we have never opened our mouths about. Some of us are carrying so much weight and so much hurt and so much pain, and we're used to it. And I don't even know if you've ever seen those situations where somebody had a small problem physically, but they let that problem get so big and huge to where it has debilitated that they can even walk normal. That's us. Because we have more faith in ourselves to hold on to this thing than to completely turn it over to the Lord. And I get it. Trust me. I've been there. Sometimes I'm still there. People always use this thing like, God has healed me. No, God is continually healing me. The ED comes when we shall be like him, when we see him as he is. That's the ED, when the ED comes. He is healing me. Because just when you think that God healed you from that thing, something else happened and triggered something else. You'll be like, oh, that thing is still there. So I pray that you are always encouraged. I pray that you're convicted. I'm going to give my bracelets back here because they're distractions, so you can't always be worried about being cute. I will not Photoshop the truth. I will not Photoshop the truth as a means to appease the uncomfortability of truth, truthfully speaking. I will not crop out what others prefer to go unsaid or resize truth for the purpose of fitting in your frame. I will not rotate or flip it so that when you first hear it, it feels less offensive. I believe scars are lessons learned, so I won't fix any blemishes. I won't adjust the contrast to make the message a little bit brighter. And I won't add any special effects so the image looks more like me as opposed to Christ. I see beauty. And what you may see is ugly. Because Christ somehow saw beauty in me. So I'd much rather shop his photo than Photoshop the truth. But he touched me. Oh, he touched me. And oh, the joy that floods my soul. But then something happened and now I know he touched me. And then he touched me again. Well, he was supposed to be babysitting. I'd never left Cali, but now I wasn't even sure what state of mind I was in. What I did know was that I was about 8 going on 9, and I wasn't afforded an opportunity to decline what will be defined as my first sexual encounter. Physical pain was secondary in comparison to how much my mind hurt that I couldn't erase, that we were already at third base, and I feared what would be forthcoming. I went from studying my 1, 2, 3s to 3-way conversations with birds and bees. My thought process became a huge palette of complexities. Child life was no longer as easy as A, B, C, A, B, C. See, I always believed Christ. Didn't ever feel God had inadvertently just knowingly left me. Now, oppressing penetration, quickened rage, Satan thought ugly variations would execute youthful zeal. But see, I wanted to know why. I was searching for a sign. I said, I was searching for a sign. Why was this happening to me? Why was I being awakened out of my sleep to watch cartoons? I was a small child, making requests for oral sex, not because I liked it, but because it hurt less. And it sparked a strange curiosity. Every time a sex scene would pop on the TV screen, I would fake sick the next day to go back and watch what my mom didn't allow me to see. See, every issue begins with a small seed. So be careful what you planting in your spirit. Because even though most feel like watching them graphic videos are for your enjoyment alone, please take note, allow me to forewarn that 87% of child molesters admit to trying to imitate something they saw from watching porn. And then he touched me. And this time, it was my own father. Now sexually involved with a second man, although I knew that when I was 9 going on 10, was 9 going on 10. What would make someone want to touch one of their own begot 10? I hyperextended my brain trying to make sense of his intentions. All the while teachers are saying she doesn't focus, she doesn't pay attention. I was going to every extent I knew, but still I was frightened by what cannot be forgotten. I felt used and thrown away like paper cups and plastic utensils at 9 going on 10. He told me to drink this cough syrup. I tried to explain I wasn't sick, but he kept giving me cough syrup. A weak attempt to try to get me high after I said no to Jose Cuervo. And as soon as my little brother went to sleep, he told me to come sit on his lap, kept shifting me in very uncomfortable positions, which I was somewhat familiar with because of the first encounter. My heart was beating out of my chest, and the tears began to roll down my eyes. That night, I slept at the bottom of the stairs. I went home the next day, and I smiled like nothing happened. I said I smiled like nothing happened. Why? Because Satan is a deceiver. One who gives false impression actually had me to believe that it had to be something that I'd done. Why else would 2 grown men come after me? So I began to change the way I dressed. I started wearing baggy clothes because I figured it would draw less attention. And every Sunday, and I do mean every single Sunday, I went to church, praying that they would see in my eyes, but I did not have the courage to verbalize. But yeah, they saw all right. A women's meeting was held, and after service, I was brought to the front of the church as an example of what not to wear. They were so out of touch, so unaware. I just wished for one moment that someone would look past the fact that I was wearing pants and more towards the reason why I didn't want to wear a dress. I said I wish for one moment someone would look past the fact that I was wearing pants and more towards the reasons why I didn't want to wear a dress. I stood there quietly, but on the inside I was screaming. Can anyone see that I'm hurting? Or shall we continue this debate on denominations and what the women are wearing to Holy Convocation? I assumed numbness meant healing. I thought this pain would never die. I assumed numbness meant healing. I just had to be delivered. Even though the sight of me, I hated. I took no pride in how I looked because I figured no one wants somebody somebody that's been molested, that's just nasty on top of complicated. So I took the pain, stored it in the back of my mind, threw it in a safe, and intentionally forgot the combination. Out of sight, out of mind. I mean, they prayed for me with blessed oil, so I had to be delivered, right? Or at least I figured, but years later, it began to resurface, and I started to experience memory triggers. Became obvious I could no longer put a Band-Aid on a wound that needed surgery. God had to be looking down like that's not what I allowed it or who I created her to be. I created a habit of pretending like things never happened. I thought I could concoct my own healing remedy as long as I was reading, praying, and fasting. But the wound was infected and it just started to spread to every area of my life. All because I didn't want to sign the consent form to go under God's knife. I didn't want the surgery. I didn't want to face reality. I didn't want to answer him. I wanted him to answer me. What kind of God would allow an innocent child to be molested? Will allow me to share with you one of the most beautifulest, ugliest revelations. The same God who sent his own son to die on a cross that most would be ungrateful for, and many more would take lightly. And any more would crucify him again with our actions. And although there was no violence, nor was any deceit found in his mouth that pleased the Lord to bruise him. Now that don't make no sense to us. But his ways are not our ways, and his thoughts are not our thoughts. The glory of Christ is the resurrection, but you can't just skip the cross. You can't skip the suffering or all the souls he came for that were lost. I said you can't skip the suffering or all the souls he came for that are lost. There is light at the end of the tunnel. You may not see it, but he sees it clear. But some of us are running haphazardly in the dark due to fear. So God has amazing plans for us, but we got hang-ups. We hung up on trying to figure out why. Hung up on why us and why not some other child. Hung up on why were we the ones that had to deal with it. And hung up on not being able to forgive. But Christ is the ultimate hang-up. He was hung up for you. He was hung up for me. So enough with the hang-ups, because his hang-up reigns supreme. All right. So to every little girl and every little boy who has ever felt defenseless, to every man or every woman who feels like the enemy has beaten them senseless, to every swallowed cry in the middle of the night so that no one hear, to every face buried in pillows to hide the tears, for every throat that the enemy tries to choke with asthmatic breaths of air, Christ is the breath of life. Let him be your inhaler. And some of you would not hear it unless it was from somebody who went through. And in that case, he allowed me to stand as a testimony for you and let you know that it was worth it. It was worth every ounce of physical, mental, spiritual pain. And I'd actually go through it again if it would allow me to continue to come all the way from LA here to Delaware to tell you over and over again that you have to let God get glory. Because like Paul, I reckon that the sufferings at this present time are just not worthy to be compared with the glory that shall be revealed in us. Amen.